and welcome to Live in the Hive, the only online magazine show dedicated to theatre across Greater Manchester. I'm Michelle Eagleton. It's Sunday night, it's 8 o'clock, and it is an extra special Sunday. See what I did there? Yes, it's Easter Sunday, so I hope you've all had a great weekend so far. And for one night only, I will allow you to eat chocolate eggs through the show. Yes, see? I'm good. Where else do you get that? We've got a great show lined up for you. We've got half an hour of news, interviews, and performances. But who is on the show this week? Well, we've got Robin Hawkes. Now, he is the new theatre director at the Palace Theatre and Opera House here in Manchester. He's going to be telling us a little bit about his role later on in the show. And you can see there the Good Enough Mums Club. Well, that is a new musical. It's actually coming out next year, but we have got a sneak peek of it and a performance that they're going to be doing at the Lowry next week. And you know what? If that wasn't enough, we also have this for you, Greater Manchester Theatre News. So we've got the latest news across Greater Manchester. Yes, there's loads of stuff going on as usual. And stick with us till the end of the show because we have a brilliant performance from the cast of The Fantastically Great Women Who Changed the World. Now, one of those women who are fantastically great and might rightly change the world is this next lady, because I spoke to her earlier on this week. She is the creator of a brand new musical called The Good Enough Mums Club. It is absolutely fantastic, this concept. She is brilliant. She is a mum herself. She's called Emily Beecher, and here's what she had to tell me about it. Now, I've got to say, I have seen a lot of musicals in my time, and there's a few that really tend to excite me. And I've got to say, yours does, Emily. Honestly, the Good Enough Mums Club, it sounds like it's my life and lots of other mums' lives wrapped into one.
Well, that's exactly what we want it to be, because, we want it to be really recognizable and we want people to sort of see themselves. And I think the most important thing for me is that it's actually based on real mum stories. And I just think it's so important that we give a voice to those stories that we don't always get to sort of share and that we don't get to see when we go and see shows. We don't get to see the mum's always the secondary character, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or, her life is less important or less exciting than the other characters. And I was like, no, I'm going to put mum at the front of it all.
And you totally have with this one, because there's a range of mums that are in this musical. And you actually went and did workshops with real mums, didn't you, to get it? So, there are these real stories at the heart of it.
Yeah, it all started with my story, because I had really terrible postnatal depression and postnatal psychosis when my daughter Maisie was born. And what happened was I was confessing all my I was so relieved to have a diagnosis that I was like, hey, everyone, there's this thing that's wrong with me. Isn't that great? And what happened was all these mums who I thought were killing it, that were, doing amazing, they all said to me, oh, I'm really struggling with this, or this is awful and I feel like this about myself. And I just was like, wow, I became this sort of collector of other women's stories. And I was like, I have to do something with this. And as I sort of wrote it and as we went out, we've always gone out and really talked to other moms. And we'll share some of those stories as well. But each of the characters, there's 5 characters. They're based on 5 very different moms, but all of them are based on a true story, which I think makes it even more powerful when you sit in that audience and you hear that, these are real people. These are real lives.
And totally, I mean, as a mum myself, I've got 2 children, and it really is one of those things that you feel the mum guilt a lot. You're always thinking that somebody else is doing a way better job than you are, especially in the school playground when it's bake the cake day and you're there with your Tesco mini rolls going, oh my God, that person's got a full gingerbread house. What have I done wrong?
Always. I love that scene, isn't it? Is it in Love Actually, where she buys the mince pies and then crunches them up a little bit? You feel like, okay, everybody's judging me on this. And I think we're so caught up in that, like mom guilt. And I think that Insta culture of everything looking perfect. And that's just not real life. Like,
No.
it's
So
chaos.
you are presenting it raw, that people who have heard some of the songs and seen, a little bit of what to expect have said it's hilarious, it's heartbreaking in parts. And also, what I love about this is your creatives and everybody involved is a mum, aren't they,
Yeah.
Emily?
Yeah, that was really important to us when we started out. And actually, my two fellow producers, Jade Samuels and Sarah Shee, they're also single moms. So the team is led by 3 single moms. And we kind of set out at the beginning, like if we couldn't do something, if it wouldn't work for us, then we're going to change it. So the cast is moms, our director is moms, our arranger, MD, like the entire team are moms. We have a couple of non-moms in sort of other positions, but everyone that's sort of front and center is a mom, which is obviously amazing for all of us because you get to talk about the stuff. But it also means that we do things like they can bring their kids to rehearsals. Like we're really, flexible with that. We'll book family-friendly rooms when we tour. It's just all about trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone, audiences, the team, everyone, to be able to do thing.
That's hard in the entertainment industry because, it has gone through that period of like, as a mom, you're not seen as being flexible or you can't do this or you've got to move, So I think what you're doing, it's almost like a movement as well as a musical, Emily.
Yeah, I hope so, because I think we talk about this when we do the evening of, but 70% of women in the arts don't go back to their jobs after having kids. That's like an insanely high number. Like, talk about a talent loss. And so it's a matter of going, actually, it's not that hard. Like all of the excuses you hear about things. And we are seeing more job shares for sure coming up. But I think we just really want to be pushing it constantly. And just like, look, we know how, like the amount you can get done as a mom compared to before you had kids, right? Like,
yeah,
you can get so much done in 5 minutes now. So just kind of tapping into that. So we rehearse like a 10 till 4 rehearsal day, as opposed to a sort of 10 till 6 or a 10 till 8 or something like that. We get the same amount done. It's
absolutely.
just really focused.
That is so fantastic. Now, you mentioned that, you've got this evening coming up. I'm very excited. It is a sneak peek of the musical, and it's a time where, the panel gets to chat to the audience, don't you? And you can kind of have a little bit of a powwow, of what it is really like, warts and all of being a mum, So you come into the Lowry.
Yes.
What are we going to see? What little snippets of the musical is going to be there for us, Emily?
Yeah, well, it's really exciting because what we get to share with you is we get to share all of the songs with you, which is great. So you'll get a real taste. There's 10 numbers, there's 5 group numbers, and then each of the characters has their own special solo number. So you'll also meet all of the characters in the show, find out a little bit about them, but find out about how we created the show. We play a few games with the audience. We always, want to hear from our audience. And I guess it's trying to also capture that workshop feeling when we do go out and talk to moms and ask moms, what they're up to, what they're looking for, what they're loving, what they're not loving, when there's plenty of that. So we can't wait. As great as we get to bring the show to you, we just love being able to connect with all the moms in the audience and hear their stories as well. So it's a really fun night.
It's going to be an absolutely great night because the musical itself, we have to wait till next year, don't we? To actually.
Yes, we will be touring later next year. So this was, we kind of course, with COVID, all of the dates for everything got bumped a little bit. So this was a great way for us to be like, look, we're going to bring you a little taste and you can sort of see what we're all about and then come see us next year when we're out in the full production.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now, the songs, I have to say, I have heard one of them already. We're going to play it in a little while on the show. We've got a bit of an exclusive for everybody at Live in the Hive. I'm very excited. Tom Hardy. It's about Tom Hardy and his moment on CBeebies Bedtime Stories. And that was a moment for women across the UK, wasn't it?
It was a great moment for women across the UK. I think there's never been a steamier bedtime story read anywhere. So yeah, we have a song called WTF's Up with Kids TV. And it's that thing of like, how often do you find yourself when you've got wee ones, like just sat there staring at the TV? They may not even be in the room anymore and you're still watching it. So we wanted to capture that kind of madness. And how could we not capture kids' TV without the man that is Tom Hardy? So yes, Tom Hardy features in a little clip, which we're sharing with you for after.
That is brilliant. You know what? You need to get Tom Hardy to come to the Good Enough Mums Club musical. Now that, I think that would be brilliant.
Well, Tom, if you're listening, you are more than welcome to come to the show at any time. So let's put that out into the universe and see what happens.
I think we totally do that. Absolutely. So we've got you coming on Friday the 22nd. Also, what is really good for mums especially, you've really thought about this, is there's a performance at 12:30 as well as 8. So I suppose if mums want to come with some of the girls at 8 o'clock and have a mum's night out, they can do. But the 12:30 one, you can actually bring your kids along, can't you, Emily? So even if you haven't got childcare, that's a good one.
Absolutely. And we're totally happy they can make noise. Like we're all moms, we get it, right? So more than welcome. There's a bit of swearing in the show. So we say if your kid is big on repeating, you might want to think about that decision. But definitely more the merrier. You know, the matinee is definitely designed that you can either do the school run, see the show, and then do your pickup, or you can just bring the kids with you. And there's been many a show even where, you know, we've had people, you know, kids talking or crawling around in front of the stage. It's totally laid back, relaxed, and welcoming.
And what do your kids think about Mummy doing this musical? What are they thinking? Or are they too small to know, Emily?
No, my daughter's 12 now, actually. So when we started the show, it's quite funny. When I first started writing it, and Sarah and Jade, all of our kids weren't even in primary school now, and they're all just gone to secondary school, to give you an idea of how long it takes to get a musical out. But, you know, my daughter is sort of, I think, she's sort of quietly proud. She came and saw the show in Birmingham with some friends of hers. And I think there was this moment of like, oh my goodness, that's what my mom does, which is always so nice when you realize that, because I sit in my office all day, she you know, it's not very exciting. So yeah, I think it's really lovely. And she's at that age where she kind of gets it. So
oh, fantastic. A big thumbs up, because we are all doing the best that we can do. And I think that's it. We are good enough.
Everyone is good enough. And I think we need to hold on to that all the time. And I know, you know, we all have days where we're like, what are we doing? I don't even know. Have them regularly. And I think we just need to hold on to like doing good enough is definitely best.
Oh, I love it. And I am coming in full support. I've got me and the girls ready to race to see you at the Lowry on the 22nd of April. All of us mums should come out and support this musical. I think it is going to be absolutely fantastic. I will see you down there, but I'm going to leave our lovely viewers now with that Tom Hardy track. Get ready, ladies.
There's one who makes me weak at the knees. Things get mighty hot when he's on CBBS. Here's one time I won't be tardy. It's story time with Tom Hardy. Those bulging muscles and those luscious lips. He's my favourite dirty feminist. The dirty feminist. Some say he needs to enunciate, but he makes me want to masturbate. Yes, oh yes. Just what else is a? Just what else is a? Just what else is a sex up mom to do?
That is genius, that song. Honestly, once you get that song in your head, you can't get it out. A little bit cheeky, I have to say, but absolutely so spot on about mums and Tom Hardy. I can't wait to see that on Friday night. Of course, it's an evening with the Good Enough Mums Club at the Lowry. Try and catch that if you can, but if not, the musical comes to us next year. I am so looking forward to it. Now, talking of things that are coming next year and things that are new on the horizon and what you're supposed to look out for in Greater Manchester, it is now time for this. Yes, it's Greater Manchester Theatre News. And what's been happening this week? Well, it's time to look out for these guys. Diversity, of course, you know who they are. They won Britain's Got Talent back in 2009. Yes, 13 years ago. Ashley Banjo and and his crew got up on stage and really impressed the BGT judges and the world with diversity. They have since done 6 sell-out tours, and this latest one is coming to the Opera House from the 5th to the 7th of May. You'll see it's called Connected. It is brand new from them, the routine. It's all to do with social media and how it connects our lives. So I think that'll be definitely worth a watch, that one. And a big good luck to Legally Blonde, the musical amateur dramatics production. It's Hope Mill Theatre's first musical production for their amateur dramatic society. And I am so excited for them. Now, it's sold out pretty much every night, and they've had to put extra dates on sale. I know that it's on from the 20th to the 27th of April, so it's kicking off next week, and I think there's still some tickets left for the Saturday 7:30 performance. So if you want to know more about that, all you have to do is head to the Hope Mill Theatre website and take a look and see what you can get. I think that's brilliant news. Honestly, I was so excited when they announced that one. So yes, good luck to the cast and good luck to Joe Houston, who I know is directing that particular production. Now, talking about directors, it's time for our next guest, because Robin Hawkes has been on a lot of people's lips this week, and that is because he has been announced as the new theatre director for the Palace Theatre and Opera House here in Manchester. So I had to invite him into the Hive and find out what's going on, Robin, and what can we expect from you. He's a lovely man. Take a look at this.
I'm really excited to be arriving in Manchester, and particularly to these 2 fantastic, beautiful, iconic venues with their incredible programmes. So yeah, I'm on top of the world at the moment.
And this is a first for us, because a theatre director, you know, it's one of those roles that people don't tend to know what that person does. So for the people watching at home, can you explain kind of what your day-to-day job is going to be there?
Yeah, I love the job because it's a really varied one. I mean, principally, I'm responsible for overseeing everything that happens across the 2 venues. So thinking about the programme that's coming into the theatres, looking after all of the brilliant team here who make it all happen, do the magic behind the scenes, and obviously taking care of our brilliant audiences to make sure they have the best possible experience when they do come.
Oh, brilliant. So what do you think of the Manchester theatre scene already now that you're here, Robin?
Yeah, well, so I moved to Manchester from Leeds. I come over from the Pennines for the job. So I knew Manchester a bit beforehand, and to be honest, the cultural scene here, because of its incredible scale and diversity, was one of the big draws to make the move. There's just such a lot going on here. It's an exciting place to be. So many artists and practitioners working in the city as well. But also, this was like a particularly exciting moment to be here, as finally, you know, after 2 years that have been absolute hell for theatres and other cultural venues, things are kind of back and booming again, and it's brilliant to come to the 2 theatres and find them, you know, packed to the rafters with people finally being able to come out and enjoy a really great night at the theatre. So yeah, it's a great place to be and a great time to arrive here too.
And of course, we had the Olivier Awards back on Sunday, last Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, that was brilliant. And I know, you know, the presenters were all kind of saying, it's a good job. We didn't change professions. So it was just a great time, and it is a great time for theatre. But you have lived and breathed theatre all your life, Robin, haven't you? Tell us how you got started.
Oh, well, okay. So right through, you know, school and even university, I was never really sure what I wanted to do as a career, but I'd always been involved in theatre one way or another, you know, just in school productions until kind of episode of Stage Fright, aged about 11, and then behind the scenes doing backstage stuff, stage management. But you know, I'm not sure I ever really knew that there was a career to pursue in the theatre. And then I had couple of years where I was living abroad in my early 20s, and I realised as I was about to head back to the UK that one of the things I missed most from being away was being involved in the theatre. And so I thought, that's what I'm going to give it a try. As when I come back, I'm going to look to find a path for myself in the industry. And I started off just with a bar job in the West End at the Aldwych Theatre, and doing all kinds of kind of work experience placements and internships in different tiny little theatre companies as well. Just kind of found a path for myself. I had a really, really happy few years working at the National Theatre in London, and then after that, subsequently, in Leeds, where I was before moving to Manchester. So another interesting about the theatre is that it's not always that there's a kind of set path that takes you from A to B. People need to find their own way sometimes.
And I think it's really refreshing that you have kind of worked from the ground up. So it's kind of like now as theatre director, you know exactly what it's like for people that are in the bar, that are in the stores, that are the directors like Nicholas Heitner. You've done it all. That's incredible. And we've got some incredible shows coming up at the Palace Theatre and the Opera House. I am so excited about these shows. We've got some great names, haven't we?
Absolutely. One of the few silver linings of the pandemic, I think, is that there were all these productions that were set to go and obviously just got stopped in their tracks. And so as a consequence of that, we've now got this amazing backlog of productions, brilliant productions that have just been waiting to hit the stage. And that means we've got this fantastic programme coming up for 2022. So, with some brilliant names in it as well. If you just take one production, Sister Act, as an example, coming up later in the year, we've got Jennifer Saunders, we've got Leslie Joseph, Clive Rowe, Kiela Settle, just in that one show by itself. And looking further ahead, Chicago, classic show with brilliant casting again, the iconic Sheila Ferguson coming to join us for that.
And you've got a world premiere, well, a UK premiere, should I say, because it's already been on in Broadway, but Mrs. Doubtfire, the musical, I cannot wait for the casting to be announced for that. But as ATG says, Manchester gets it first, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. I think that's one of the things I'm most excited about this year. I loved the movie when I was a kid, and now to imagine that here on the stage, heard about the Broadway production, I never had a chance to see it. But you're right, for that to come to Manchester first before anywhere else in the country gets to see it is a really exciting prospect for us.
And that's really happened so many times at the Palace Theatre and Opera House. We've had things like Ghost beforehand. We had The Band, the musical, the Take That one. And it's just like, it feels now, Robin, more than ever that Manchester is the place for theatre. We are giving the West End a run for its money, aren't we?
I think we are, and actually you can add Back to the Future to that list, right?
Which of course, award-winning.
It was here first. Yeah, so I'd agree with you. I think I've lived in London for a big chunk of my life, and the theatre scene there is amazing. But there's something kind of brilliant about Manchester, in that everything's a lot more accessible, and also just thinking about these two theatres alone, never mind the other wonderful venues that we've got in the city. When I look across the programme that we have for the year ahead, it's got all of the very best productions that you could see in London happening here. And as you say, some of them happening even before they get to London, which I think is the right way around.
Absolutely. And at the moment, you've got Beauty and the Beast, the musical, which is playing at the Palace Theatre. I went to see it the week before. Oh, my goodness, it was so stunning. The special effects, the costumes, the cast, Sam Bailey as Mrs. Potts, unbelievable. Shaq Taylor as the Beast. Coming into the time now with a production like that must be pretty special, Robin.
It is really special. As you say, it is a fantastic production, definitely West End plus quality, and it's brilliant to have it here in residence at the Palace for a good couple of months, actually. So it feels like we can really make that production feel at home here. And that means, as you say, just thousands and thousands of people, young people with coming with their families, but actually people of all ages, coming to see that show and just having the best possible time. So yeah, there's nothing like it as being in a theatre surrounded by 2,000 other people all having the time of their lives.
Absolutely, and dressed in Belle costumes. It was quite a few children dressed in those lovely yellow dresses. It was amazing. But you actually started your creative learning program as well with Beauty and the Beast. Tell us a little bit about this, because it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, so this is something new for the Palace and Opera House that I'm really excited about for the, actually not just the months, but the years ahead as well. We've just appointed in the last couple of weeks our first ever creative learning producer. Grace, her job is going to be to connect these brilliant theatres to the city and to Greater Manchester in kind of new and different ways. The theatres have got such an amazing, rich, historic pedigree, but also we realise that sometimes there's a bit of myth busting to do, because people can be put off by that kind of grand exterior and expect that coming to the theatre is going to be a very stuffy, formal experience, which of course, Michelle, that is not what it's like. But if you've never been before, perhaps you don't quite know that. So the idea of this creative learning programme is to open up the doors of the building in different and new ways, working with young people from right across different parts of the city, different backgrounds, bringing them perhaps to the theatres for the very first time, and also engaging them kind of in a more active way so that they can get involved as participants, as well as hopefully coming as audience members. And whether that's just coming for a tour to kind of see how the theatre works behind the scenes, or actually getting involved in a programme of some kind to do something creative and maybe even find yourself on the stage one day. So that's about developing the audiences of the future, theatre makers of the future. It's a really vital part of what we're doing.
I think that is brilliant. I think, theatre should be accessible for all. People should be encouraged. I mean, I grew up with the theatre and, it's totally touched my life. And I do think there is nothing like live theatre and stepping in there. So anything that you can do to encourage more people, to give it a try and open up to it is fantastic. So we'll look out for some of that developing over the coming months. I can't let you go without asking, though, what is your favourite show to date, Robin?
Oh, that is such a difficult question, Michelle.
I know.
I mean, there's a million to choose from, isn't there? But I guess I was really delighted to get the chance to revisit one of my very favourite shows in my first few weeks here in Manchester, which is Curious Incident of the Dog in the Night Time. And so, because I worked at the National Theatre before my job in Leeds, before coming here, and actually I was a producer on that show when it first was made at the National Theatre and then in the West End and elsewhere too. And so to kind of come full circle and see that amazing show on the stages here at the Opera House was fantastic. And also to see kind of, hundreds of young people, school children in to watch that show. It's something really unique, that production. It kind of created its own genre in a way.
It is. It's so clever, both visually and the message that it gives. It's stunning. Wow, it feels like fate has kind of brought you to Manchester, and we are going to love having you here. So I can't wait to see you at the theatre very, very soon, and I'm excited to see how it all goes. Oh, I'm so pleased for Robin Hawkes there as the newly appointed theatre director of the Palace Theatre and Opera House. I think he's going to do an absolutely fantastic job. And as I said there, I can't wait to see what the other productions are that he's got up his sleeve. So we'll keep you posted here on Live in the Hive. And if you are going out and about over the next few days, the next week, then do head to our friend's website. Of course, if you're watching this on the I Love Manchester Facebook page, you're a friend of the family anyway. Yes, I'm talking about going to the I Love Manchester website. They have got the latest on where to go to eat, drink, culture, community, you name it. And I know there's some really good ideas for the rest of the Easter break on there too. And don't forget, you can follow us throughout the week on our social media channels. We are on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, we are here on Facebook, as you might be watching us on our Facebook page too. But that's it for this week. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to be playing you out, though, with a brilliant song. It's from the cast of Fantastically Great Women Who Changed the World, the musical. I went to see it last week at the Lowry when it was on tour, and I was totally impressed. It's inspiring, it's empowering, and it really is catchy. This is the theme song from the show. Enjoy it. Happy Easter, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
This is your place, this is your home. These are your sisters, and you'll never be alone.
Whatever it is you want to achieve, never give up on everything you believe.
This is your place, take it with pride. Wherever it leads, you will be here by your side.
This is your story, whatever you say. If you find your talent, you find your way.
So take it slow, in your own time. Ain't no hill that you can't climb.
You're not alone, and you should know.
Know that your life is gonna be fantastic. Keep your body and your mind elastic. We promise it's not bombastic. When we say you're gonna be fantastically great, so come on, get up here beside us, stand tall, 'cause we wanna stick your picture on a wall. Whatever future you decide on, we can't wait. You're gonna be fantastically, fantastically great.
This is my place, this is my time. These are my sisters, I am theirs and they're mine. This is my life, it's an adventure.